Hey there, everyone. Corrie here, coming in to finish up the part two of the predictions for 2023. There is many things that are unfolding. I downloaded a whole bunch of these earlier in the month, or no, I guess it was probably closer to the end of November that I did these. I think it was, but this is the second part because I just felt like there was more to unpack and I felt like there was more information that was coming through. And as the wind is blowing and as the moon is huge outside and it's filled with rings and it's the cold moon, it's a full moon, there is, it's also has the energy of the moon's, I don't even know what they call it, but something like the moon is covering, going to be covering Mars for just a period of time in the tomorrow, I believe it is. And so I'm like, and so in that time and in that shift is just like, it's that whole sense of, that revealing of all the things that needs to be revealed. So I just feel like we're really, truly, what is happening in this full moon is pretty much our whole 2023. All of 2023 just feels like it is that ultimate sense of learning the power of why we do what we do in healing, that we allow ourselves to heal so that we can make peace with the past and make peace with where we've been. And that is coming up after we really start to reveal the sinister energy. And the more light shines, the brighter, then also the brighter that that this sinister energy tries to get. And it's like, and so becoming the brightest of lights, becoming the brightest and brightest of our truth, bringing up the really truly holding that level of accountability and responsibility. Tell us why, explain to us why. Like all of that's, a little 2-year-old, 3-year-old that starts to learn like, why, how come, why? And so really, truly that power of, revealing new truths and having, the no longer be having like our eyes covered to truth. I just feel like it's such a revealing thing that's coming in. And with that, of course, there's uncomfortableness, but once we know truth, I just feel like even in relationships in 2000, even December, I think I spoke about this in my monthly message as well, the power and importance of getting to the point of knowing the truth is once we know, then we can heal. When we're in the guessing or we're assuming or we start to think we're going crazy, it's very hard to heal. And so 2023 is going to be bringing in that so that we can actually start a healing process and that we can start to move forward. Will we see this time again? Will we see moments like we have seen during the pandemic, like times when we have seen throughout history? Yes, of course we will, because this is cycles, and cycles, what we extract from these experiences is huge. The other thing is really truly the, what has been kind of hidden and kept out of our vision, and the news and places like that are for some reason really truly famous at this now, not bringing awareness to the areas where it's needed and bringing awareness to the stuff that just causes more divide and anger. But Somalia, places like that are literally struggling even more than ever because of famine, because of doing without. If we truly lifted the veils of illusions off our whole world and the society, we'd realize that the money that has gone into and wasted and squandered, especially over the past 3 years, what that money could have done to eradicate some of the biggest problems that we have in our world. But we didn't. Why? Because it doesn't serve the agenda. And that's truth. Imagine what that money could have done. So imagine the numbers of schools, hospitals that could have been built. Imagine the number of starving people that could have been not starving. There was enough money printed and made that could have changed our world, but it didn't. What does that tell you? And that's the, and so the reason why they gave me that message was not for us to debate and argue about it, but for us to think about it, to process it on a deeper level. What is those whys? And yes, we can, there's science, there's things like there's things that are must, don't get me wrong, but that's not what they're telling me. They're telling me that to really look at the agendas. And I feel like that's the 2023 is going to be really deeply about looking at and exploring the agendas, getting clear. I have no idea why I'm playing with my collar. I believe I must have like Elvis around or something. Like I keep wanting to move and readjust. And I'm like, why? Why is that happening? But it's happening. And so it just is, whatever and whoever that is that's with us. It just is. And so we do have the matter of our everyday people that is going to become the forefront for coming into mid 2023 and moving forward. And when we make the everyday people, when we make our people matter, when we make our neighbors matter, when we make, the people around us really matter. And I mean everyone, I don't mean this little cluster. And you're going to see big cities really truly have their tipping points. And they're just going to be in these tipping points of having to readjust. They're going to really realize, I feel like there's just going to be this collapse in a lot of big major cities. And there's some really big, deep freezes, like really freezing out this year. There is a lot of freezing out that I'm seeing. And freezing out can also be the sense of really seeing how unethical or how unorganized or how, bleeding hearts how sometimes our bleeding hearts don't think about the impact, the outcome, or how they're going to make things work. It just is, and just make it work, and it doesn't work. And so we're going to see a lot of toppling of plans and good intentions that didn't have a strong foundation really collapse. So good intentions, really good intentions that had weak foundations are going to collapse, and we're going to have to find another way, a new way. But there is going to be something. I feel like there's going to be a structure or a realization that there is opportunities and ways, but we're also going to find, and we have been on a downcline of people losing themselves into addictions. And I feel like we're going to start to see healing from addictions really start to come in the forefront of people's lives. And we all have addictions. We all have something, whether it's your phone, whether it is, that sense of over obsessed with being so involved and invested in even arguing and all of these things. And the severity and the impact that it has upon us is all different. And everyone has pain. There is no gauge and level in measuring pain. Nervous system knows it, your body knows it, you just know it to be. And I feel like there is going to be, and so I feel like I keep saying, because it's in that sense of, as they give me a feeling in my body, and I haven't seen a clear picture of any of this yet. All I know is that this is the information they're giving me, and that we're going to see that sense of people really starting to want to live, like want to embrace life, to find the beauty of life again. And we're going to be closer to the end of the year before this starts to unfold. We do have still some feasts and famines that are happening. We are going to be facing those famines in, our countries. We get hit in certain ways, but those countries that are already there, imagine that on top of what they already have. And so there's a lot of sinister, cruel energies in the countries of where it's been over where the people don't matter, and criminals and crime is what runs the countries. And so seeing a influx in those things, and then also having to see some sort of like tipping point there as well, and creating balance again, getting in and really truly shaking house. I feel like the world has just got some major shaking down to happen. I feel like we're being tipped upside down, shaking us up, and not like the beauty of a snow globe and it just falls back down in place first, but it's like shaking out the garbage, shaking out the dust and all the garbage. And I feel like the garbage is starting to be made, we're being made aware of it, clean it up and turn it around. but there is going to be, and there is the energy of major sense of misunderstandings. We have many dualities coming in here. And so, but this to me feels like the life force energy. And this is the priestess of light oracle. And I feel like there's just like this shift and change where that sense of this illuminating life force energy, where the essence of God consciousness, and I've said this in the first one, I see this light in the air, in this coming in, and I see it opening. And I just see this opening, and I don't know what it means yet because it gives me visions. I'm not here to give you clear answers. I'm here to give us something to really think about in our own actions, our own behaviors, and what we see happening. And so people really start to claim back personal power and not giving the power over. And giving power over means allowing fear over faith, allowing ourselves to be in that energy. And I feel like that's where we're going to be making the change. The duality is that, so many things has many meanings, including these messages. There's so many things that can unfold. I just give them messages. I don't ask for them to give me the clear direct of it, because so many things can happen in between here. And we pray that things, many things don't happen the way that we make the changes we need to make as people. But I feel like people are really, truly in the duality of really recognizing that we've had like our perceptions, our ability to be able to perceive has been, tampered with because of the fight or flight, the fear that has been so infiltrated into our societies, into our world, fearing for our lives. Like when people go into situations like we've been in the past few years, it's like people then get into that fear, fear of death. But fearing death is you had the same chances of death before, and the death still existed, and death could still happen before, but you never put as much emphasis on it until you were told to do it, till it was pushed upon you, till it became, and we're going to see it still trying to push its way into the beginning of 2023. It just doesn't have the power. It doesn't have the power because personal power is becoming greater than that power, and divine power is becoming even greater than personal power. And divine power is really entering in. We have the entering of the angelic realm and the angels that are just so present, so present. And then we have our healing of earth. And it's coming into, I feel like 2023 is the beginning, 2024. We're seeing the healing of the earth. And one of the greatest ways that earth heals is when we shift our perspective and our mindsets. When we loosen up and lose that anger, that negative, and that negative hold that has a hold of so much here on earth, because it is the vibrational frequency within the earth. It's the ability to be able to feel. So the power within the earth connecting to the power within us. And it's like she needs us to be like lights upon this earth, to be sunshine. And when we're sunshine upon this earth, when we are brighter lights upon this earth, then Mother Earth becomes brighter. And so there is, right? And so there is the power of us being able to give and receive, to be there to love thy neighbor as we love ourselves, right? To be proud, to be more excited for the people in your life that are doing well and succeeding, and just cheering them on, than you are even for your own. Because, when one wins, we all win. When we start to see somebody grow and evolve, we all grow and evolve. Everybody gets to reap those rewards. Everyone gets to be a part of it. And we're going to see this throughout. And so the healing the earth, is that power of giving and receiving, and us also giving back to the earth and giving back to nature, and to also start to give back in the way of spending time in it, but not abusing it, not being unkind to it. So if you want to do something productive, instead of sitting in the house and watching the news, go pick up garbage. How about do that? Right? Like if you want the world to change, if you want the earth to change, what are you doing to be a part of it? Right? Like, and so if you want things to change within you, what are you doing? If you don't want to feel a certain way, if you don't want to live a certain way, if you don't want to be a certain way, if you don't want an unhealthy relationship, then why are you existing in it? And that's one of the biggest questions for 2023 coming up is why? If you want a different life, you're going to have to do something different. And we've been able to sit back and just accept, because kind of things have been kind of closed down, but now they're not. And things are going to be moving, and the pace is going to be speeding up. Things are and not that things change, but because everything happens like this and becomes so available so quickly. There's so much things that are just like moving really quickly. And that's what I just feel like things are just going by very quickly. With movies in my eyes that I've had since I was a little girl, they go by so quickly. It's like the old movie reels, and it's like I'd sped up and I got to try to capture. And I capture those moments and I capture those things. So it's like capture a moment and ride the wave of it. Capture a moment, capture that moment that gives you the momentum that you need to be able to rise up and out of the despair or the sadness or whatever it is that's holding you down. And this is why I feel like there's going to be a huge influx in people that are healing through addictions, because we are healing the past and we are being the chain breakers. We are being the ones who are standing up and saying no to the behaviors of the past or the ways. Like, we're really truly finding our way and finding our way back into what it means to step into a place of honoring that sense of authenticity within ourselves and that oneness, but also making it fit, making ourselves fit into our own world. And so 2023 is about making yourself fit into your own world, not to keep trying to fit into the world. You are of the world. You are not the world. You have your own world, and your world is yours to create. I do have that sense of we will see more shortages. That's going to be a kind of a heads up. Like, they do have some more shortages that are happening. There's things like that. But when we know we can be prepared a little bit, will we see the bleakness of what has been projected up onto us before? To a certain degree, because if you were to look on the shelves right now and you can see there is no cough medicine for children, that's an issue, right? And so that may appear to be such a small thing, but that's an absolute freaking huge thing. It's absolutely huge, and it shouldn't be. Why is this happening to us? How did this happen to us? And why is it just so, oh, it just is what it is. And it is what it is to the energy, but it was, somehow, where did the world drop its ball? Where did the peoples who are supposed to be juggling all these pieces drop a ball, and now all these pieces are going to crumble and fall? Because they are. And the angels are here, the divine presence is here. And I just feel like with that then comes in, I just feel like touching your earth. I just feel like it's like this new presence, this new awareness, and new creations and new ways of being able to treat even the things that need to be treated in this world. And we have calming the waters. And in the end of it all, I do see peace. And I start to see this sense of, as people start to remember that someone just told me that I should be afraid, but I don't. Why should they get to control that thought for me? So people really truly taking power back, personal power, divine power coming in, and just being able to create an inner peace, an inner knowing, an inner truth, an awareness to how powerful we are within ourselves, how powerful we are as a culture, as a society, as all things, as a human race upon this earth, as all the little people that we're seeing the rise up in beautiful ways. And how is that? Not by causing war or chaos, but by making peace and just being calmer and just saying, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. And when you don't buy into it and you don't lose yourself in it, it doesn't own you. And when it can't claim you, when that energy, when the narratives, when the stories, when it can't claim you, it can't own you. This is a year about not allowing yourself to be there. We're coming into a time of being able to really, truly self-regulate, to gain that awareness, to breathe into the world, breathe into nature, to find that sense of peace, to be at peace. And I feel like people won't be so invested into the virtual world as what people think they were. People are really going to want their real world, their real life. And the Lumerian is here. And the Lumerian are reminding me to remind you of how they lost their city. And when you look at how that Lumerian, this is the universal light of love, is that they got so overinvested in one thought, one way, one brain, one way, that they forgot that everything else was still happening. And when everything else was still happening and everything else was still existing, then everything else gained the power because they were not looking at all perspectives and all things. And it's about, and so that we don't sink our own boat, so that we don't lose ourselves, so that we don't get lost, is for us to love and care enough, for us to care enough to want to know more, for us to want to look at all sides of things, for us to want to listen, for us to want to be present, for us to want to really, truly just be so aware and so knowing, and to fall into that place of, now that I know, I can make peace and I can make wiser choices and decisions. And I'm not being, the power over the mind is not there, because it's heart living, heart centered, and knowing that we all matter. And as we bear witness to a lot of, like I said, freezing, a lot of deep freezes this winter, but also a lot of ups and downs in weathers, floods, like the earthquakes. But we have massive weathers this year that does then have an impact upon the foods. It has an impact upon shipping, and those type of things. So we have things that are out of our control, but I also see it brings people closer together, and it brings us in. And I just see people being able to share and care for each other. And we're actually we are restoring a whole part of what was missing. Never mind that whole agenda of the big reset or whatever. That's kind of like, that's not there. It's the humans, and the humans really truly resetting what we have. What we have that makes us so great and so special is our ability to use imagination to create beautiful things in this world. And we get to do that, and we get to be in charge of that. And I feel like by the time we come into 2023, the end of 2023, we're really going to start be perfecting that. We're going to get to know that again. And we're going to really truly be connecting as beautiful beings. And the divine is here upon earth. There is a new wave of angels, angelic realm that has come in, a council. The Magi are back, and the wise ones have entered into this earthly realm again. And we have the power of the divine God consciousness that is just working on our behalf, and beautiful things are unfolding. Beautiful things are coming our way. We just have to have that sense of patience and trusting divine timing. Much love. Have a beautiful 2023. Be beautiful within yourself. Be beautiful to people. Be kind, be considerate, and really truly open your eyes and your heart to just say, I'm curious and I really would like to know. Just be willing to sit and listen to perspectives. Stay calm, breathe into you, and just know it's okay to just listen. Much love. Bye-bye.